So let's see what they think about it in Nigeria. With us from Lagos, Nigeria, is journalist Sam Olukoya. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening.
So, Sam, let's try to understand. Do you really think that this coalition can solve the problems in Nigeria? Or like we asked here before, you will be able to control maybe Boko Haram, but in this vacuum, somebody else will get in and will start a whole new mess in Nigeria?
Well, I think to start with, the Nigerian government did not properly tackle this issue. That is why we find ourselves where we are today. I mean, if you trace it back as far back as the early 80s, we've had a problem of Islamic insurgency. And at that time, the government in power was able to promptly tackle the problem. So what we're having now is no different from what we've had in the past, which people outside Nigeria were not even aware of. So, but as it is today, the problem has more or less grown beyond what Nigeria alone can effectively tackle, in the sense that, you have people from outside of Nigeria coming to join the local forces, the local Boko Haram people, and getting involved in this struggle. You also find arms coming from outside of Nigeria and landing in the hands of these Boko Haram people. So to that extent, I think that you need intervention from outside. But then Nigeria has a lot of role to play, irrespective of the intervention from outside. If Nigeria does not take the lead, then the interference from outside will not be effective. You recall last year when the schoolgirls were kidnapped, so many countries came in, Israel, the United States, and China, all of them came in to try to look for these girls. But because the structures on ground, the Nigerian authorities did not put adequate structure, they did not collaborate with these people.
Exactly this point, because we saw the wife of President Barack Obama doing a big campaign of Bring Back the Girls. All the world joined this Bring Back the Girls campaign. But this is not only about the girls. This is about the entire situation. What do we in the West or in Israel or in the United States or in Europe don't understand about the current situation in Nigeria?
Well, I think that the problem is a bit political. The government did not exactly, as I said, it did not exactly address this issue. I don't know whether the government feels it can get some political benefit from this crisis, in the sense that where Boko Haram is more active, the 3 states where Boko Haram is more active, those states belong to the opposition. And of 36 states in Nigeria, if you have 3 states where there is crisis, an election cannot take place, that would mean that it will have properly put the government in a position to win elections, which are scheduled to take place in less than 2 weeks.
So what you're saying is what? That it's in one way or another, it's comfortable for the government that the situation in Nigeria is so bad right now?
Well, I think maybe the government itself miscalculated, thinking that this crisis can only be confined to those 3 states which belong to the opposition. It's like setting up fire and assuming the fire will only burn your neighbor's house and it will not get to you. But as it is today, it has gone beyond the 3 states which controlled by the opposition. So unless the government takes adequate measure, another issue actually has to do with corruption. So much money is being budgeted for defense. Very little of this goes to the army, or very few of it goes in terms of buying ammunition. I just came back from the north, speaking with soldiers who were at the forefront, and they gave very pathetic stories. Bullets are being counted, 30 bullets. They've been given 30 bullets, go and fight Boko Haram. I mean, how do you prosecute this kind of insurgency when bullets are counted and say, take these 30 bullets, go and fight? When you are using guns of 1980, Boko Haram are using fresh, new guns brought from the Middle East or North Africa, I don't know, but the guns Boko Haram is using, they are very brand new guns. whereas the Nigerian military are using guns they bought as far back as 1980.
Unbelievable.
You want to ask, how much is...
I just want to hear Dr. Magen wants to ask you a question, please.
Yeah, Sam, you raised really fascinating issues about state capacity and about legitimacy and about the competing interests of Nigerian political elites in solving the problem or letting it fester. I'm curious about whether there is a conversation going on in Lagos today about the need for the Nigerian state to really extend its sovereignty to the northeastern part of Nigeria, to invest in economic development, in trying to create conditions of stability, or is that discourse completely absent in Nigeria today?
Well, it's important to create this environment you talk about. But I think for now, we cannot even think of that until the security issues are addressed. You don't creating infrastructure in a place where Boko Haram is very, very active. So first step is to ensure that you get these Boko Haram people out of that place. And once this is done, then you have to create infrastructures. You have to put the conditions right to the extent that the local people, the local youths who are unemployed will not find it convenient to join this kind of these militants. When Boko Haram gets to a place, you find lots of people trying to join in, people who have no hope in life. And the benefits they get from joining Boko Haram is twofold. One, they are paid good salary. Two, they are empowered to do whatever they like. That is in terms of going into a town, looting, stealing, and enriching themselves.
So, Sam, you're saying that everything got to do, again, with education and the lack of education that there is in Nigeria, or maybe in schools, or maybe in families, that it's like it's going from generation to generation, and it's like a circle, a magic circle that you cannot stop.
Yes, actually, we have to put it in context. The northeastern part of Nigeria is the least developed, is the least educated. So, and it has the highest rate of poverty. So when you have a setting like this, it becomes a time bomb for groups like Boko Haram. They easily take advantage of that. If Boko Haram were to come to Lagos, for example, if Boko Haram were to go to some other place where the living standard is higher, you are not likely to find youths in their hundreds, in their thousands, going to queue up to join this insurgency. It's all about poverty to lack of education. When people don't have education, it becomes easy for somebody to come and tell them, if you fight a religious war, and you die in the course of it, you will go to heaven. Somebody who is well educated will not think that way. So you need to educate these people. You need to empower them. But as I said, first and foremost, you have to end this insurgency before you can think of bringing these infrastructures which are not there in the first place.
Yes, Sam Olukoya, thank you very, very much for this conversation with us.